Welcome to the Six-Figure Author Experiment, where we help you break through your first or next $100,000 goal. Parental discretion is advised. Now, let's get on with the show.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Six-Figure Author Experiment. It's been a couple of weeks. How you doing, Lee?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm so good, and I am so excited to have Heather Hildenbrand on the show because not only have I heard about her for years, but I read her book this weekend, and I can't wait to talk about it. So, hi, Heather. We're going to do a thing that we don't normally do, which is like have our guests introduce themselves instead of just throwing them into the deep end.
Okay, awesome. Well, yeah, hi, I'm Heather. I'm so excited to be here with you guys. I love the podcasts. I love both of you from afar for a long time. This is really exciting. So I am an author. I've been an author since 2011. That's like full time. That's my gig. And then kind of started coaching as like a side obsession, I guess. I went down the rabbit hole of self-development for myself, and lots of like trial and error, stuff works, stuff doesn't work, and I just became fascinated by it. And then, you know, montage short version, I figured out the tools I liked that worked for me, and I started understanding more of like why things worked and didn't. I studied the subconscious mind and a little bit of science. And really figured it out. And then I took a coaching course from a really powerful, impactful coach that I had for myself personally. And I was like, I want to learn how to do this for other people. And that was a couple years ago. And so then my coaching business really kind of took off in the last couple of years. And so now I'm accidentally doing two full-time things. So here we are.
That's very common because I also were interviewing Renee today. And so
Oh, yeah.
similar like things. So I read two Renee books
Yeah.
and your book this weekend. And so like I am like full on in the manifesting. I'm like, I know all the things about many of the things about manifesting.
Nice. Check your mailbox for $1 million today because it feels like you have a lot of momentum going. So
Uh,
who knows
yeah,
a lot.
I'm gonna do it. So I'll tell you the thing that I learned about both from both of your books. I forget which one of you said it, but someone was like, if you deny money when it comes, why would more money come? And
Mhm.
I was like, oh my God, like I have always been like, even when there's money on the ground, like I'm not taking that money because like I don't want my luck, I don't want to like waste my luck like over here. And like so one of the things I learned this weekend that was really powerful was like if money comes, you should take it because you train the universe how it should treat you.
Yes, exactly. And the universe doesn't really understand things like nuance and subtlety in that way, right? It's kind of all or nothing. And so, yeah, if you say no to some kind of money, then it's like, oh, no to money. Got it. It doesn't understand, oh, it has to be this way because the universe likes to do it its own way, right? And so, yeah, it's kind of that black and white a little bit.
And I love talking like the woo-woo terms, the universe, all that, because
Mhm.
I was raised religious and then I left that faith to like pursue my own. And I do love like higher power, I'm all in. But I also like the way your brain works, which is what are you training your mind to say? Or you can train it to look for money, you can train it to look for opportunity, or you can say, there is none. I can't, that's not possible. And the mind goes, oh, okay, we'll just like shut
Yeah,
that part down. We just aren't going to look for any of that. And you can train your mind to look for whatever you want.
totally.
You
Even
can say,
something like I don't want my luck to be used up on this thing. Like that's a thing in your mind that is your brain, your subconscious is going, we only have so much luck. So.
Absolutely. It's so interesting because, so I have a book coming out next year called How to Thrive as a Writer in a Capitalist Dystopia. So like I have a lot of like thoughts about like how to exist in capitalism. And I feel like one of the things I like most about manifesting or like this at least this like the chain of it that I've seen is like a lot of it is like maybe you shouldn't hate yourself for wanting things and like maybe you should just like actively say the things you want. And I think as writers, like one of the problems is we're trained like we shouldn't want anyone to read our books, but then also like we wrote a book with our name on it, so like you like it's innately like counterintuitive to be like, okay, so you don't want to make money. You don't want to say people read your book, but like your name is on your book. So like how? Like you wrote it's so narcissistic to write a book, put your name on it, and then say like, I don't just want people to like to consume it. I want them to obsess about it. I want them to read it and like never get it out of their head and then buy 500 copies for all of their friends. And like it's okay to want those things. And like I feel like all of these things that I've read, is including your book, is like it's okay to want this stuff.
Yeah, and not just okay, but yeah, the recognizing that, like you said, the culture, not even just book world culture, but that's like its own subset of feelings and beliefs, right? But in general, we're programmed that, yeah, if we want things, then we're being selfish, right? Or like you use the word narcissistic, right? We label these things, and so then we put rules on it and say, like, if I want this, I'm a bad person, or we say I'm not allowed to want this. And I loved that your main takeaway was what you just said about really just like not hating ourselves or the things we want. Because yeah, I think that law of attraction, manifestation, science, our subconscious, the way our brain works, it all comes down to our self-image and how we see ourselves, right? And those, what are those beliefs? And then are they serving you or not? Because yeah, if you believe that it's wrong to want to make a lot of money, then you're probably not going to make a lot of money, because at its core, your subconscious is programmed to protect you, first of all, and it's going to mostly protect you from yourself, right? So if you think making a lot of money makes you a bad person or it feels scary or something, your subconscious is going to be like, don't worry, I got you. We'll make sure you never make money then, so that we stay safe, right? So it's like you said earlier about being counterintuitive, or sometimes we call it like self-sabotage or whatever, but it's all the same thing in that. And it all comes down to how we see ourselves, what we think we're capable of, worthy of, deserving of, allowed to have, that kind of thing.
Yeah. And I remember one of the first conversations I had with Lee, we were talking about like your body like doesn't want you to succeed because like success is scary, like it's a thing. Lee, do you want to talk about this?
Yeah, if it's a new thing, like the fear is such a great defense mechanism. My friend was in his garage, he moved a box and there was a black widow spider and he jumped 3 feet in the air backwards. That's awesome. That's a great use of the fear response.
Right.
I'm on TikTok and I'm like, I want to go viral. I want to go viral. And I had a video that did well. And then I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Oh, and it wasn't even a book that I had out. It was a book in an anthology. And I was like, oh, that was adorable. You manifested being seen, but being hidden. And when I think about being seen more, like whatever that looks like, New York Times, USA Today, or whatever, I think it's scary. And I'll be attacked. And my body has that same reaction that my friend did with the spider. It only is that way because it's brand new. And no one in my family has modeled that for me, which is why I'm going to a retreat next week with somebody who made a couple million this year. And I'm like, and is pretty visible on TikTok. And I'm like, great. You're just going to have that person be part of your tribe. And your brain will be like, oh, everyone does this. And that's kind of how I move forward, is I find people who are like succeeding. And I'm like, I'm going to make them my best friend. My mind will think that they're my best friend. I'm just watching their podcast and listening, and signing up to their newsletter and studying their posts. But my mind has moved me into this tribe, and it's a survival mechanism to match your tribe. So that's my little hack for like moving forward, is I got really connected in the author community. And part of it was my joy of being around other writers, but then like so much success has poured into my life just because I'm friends with people who are moving towards success, and we kind of work together and get there. And I'm like, oh, she made it that pile of money, and so I could do it. In fact, I got to a point where I was like, excuse me, why am I not making 6 figures? Look at all these people. I mean, excuse me. And I don't know exactly what I did, but my subconscious mind upgraded. And I think I actually just started promoting my book like that much more. Just a couple more Facebook groups. I don't even remember why, because I did it automatically. Just like I would say, oh, I need to walk downstairs, and my body does it automatically. And now I'm like, I should be making 6 figures, and I do it automatically because, oh, no, I'm going to send more emails. Oh, no. But I can tell where my little like money thermostat is, because if it gets a little high, I'm like, okay, back off. And if it gets a little low, I'm like, scramble, scramble, scramble.
Yeah, so it's about the connection. It's about your nervous system then, right? Which is the other key. It's like the connected component that I think when I was first studying all this, I didn't see anybody talking about that. And now I do so much more. And I'm like, thank God, because that was the missing piece for me, was even when I changed my mindset, I changed my beliefs, like I believed in myself more and stuff like that. But you still have all this that goes into your nervous system, like the fight or flight response, which is triggered by, yeah, any kind of change, even the good kind, right? So when we say, I want to make more money, and then you start to, like, even though it's good, your nervous system is going to freak out, and you have to be able to settle it again, or else, yeah, you will just go, never mind, and like somehow the it'll go away, right? You'll get another bill in the mail for exactly that same amount or something like that, and because you just need to get rid of it to feel safe again. So I think I learned that at every single new income level. I have the same exact nervous system freak out that I've had a million times before, and I'm like, oh, okay, here's this, we're back, and that's when, yeah, I'll use like the tapping or something like that, because I'm like, okay, I need to normalize into this in my body, because I don't want it to go away. I want it to stay. So yeah, I love that. I think that's so crucial.
Yeah, I'd love to dig into that a little bit because I think that my wife and I have several chronic illnesses, and one of the thing like chronic illnesses teach you is to like start paying attention to your autonomic nervous system, your sympathetic and parasympathetic. Like if my wife and I've learned nothing about chronic fatigue or long COVID, it's like your autonomic nervous system like defines most of how you respond to stuff. So I'd love for you to just like talk a little bit about that part of it, Heather.
Yeah. So for me, I think I came to it with the understanding of, or learning about how our past experiences, and I'll even just say like trauma or painful experiences in our lives, are stored in the body if we don't know how to properly release them. And then when they get stored in the body, think of it like an adrenaline rush that never turned off or something. And your body just stores it, right, in your different organs or in, yeah, somewhere in your nervous system. And if it's not treated over a long period of time or released, that's where I believe, and there's a lot more science emerging to back it up, that that's where disease comes from. And science is using the word like anxiety cause or stress causes disease, right? You've heard that. It's the same thing, right? They're just not there yet with the language. They're not going to say your stored trauma caused your disease. They're not there yet, right? They're going to say stress, but it's kind of the same thing, really. And so, yeah, it's all stuff stored in your nervous system. And I can't say cure, right? Like I'm not a doctor. I'm not going to say that, but like the key in the context of what we're talking about here is definitely to actually start paying more attention to your body, because your body's always going to give you clues. It's always going to communicate with you what you need. And manifestation, it happens in the body. It happens with following your gut. That's why we talk about following your gut or following your heart or something. So paying more attention to the sensations you have, caring most about your physical health and that connection, right? And learning how to actually, like we were just saying, calm your nervous system, get it back to baseline, go into rest and digest mode instead of living in fight or flight all the time, which is basically what a chronic illness would be, right? It'd be stuck in fight or flight. So almost maybe every single author I've coached and gone through my courses are basically living in fight or flight all the time, and their body's not going into rest and recovery, so they're not healing anything. And when you're stuck in that, it's hard to manifest. You can't. It's like there's this hierarchy of needs, right? That when you're at the bottom, when you're in survival, and your nervous system thinks you might die. And that's where we are, even though we're threatened with things like bills and this is the new saber-toothed tiger, right? Like we're not being chased by them through the woods anymore as cave people, but like we might not pay our bills. It's the same feeling in our body, like Lee was saying. When you're stuck in that, you can't open for more. Like you can't go up into the higher levels of thinking that you care about things like your vibration or how you feel, because you're like, it doesn't matter how I feel. I might die. Like nothing else matters, right? So you have to learn to kind of change your body back into the rest and digest mode or rest and recovery mode, because it gets stuck. And these are tools we're not taught. You're going to go to the doctor for, COVID or any of these chronic issues, right? And they're not going to be like, well, try tapping or, something like that. Try some of them now might be like, try some yoga or something, but it's not the kind designed to release your nervous system in this way. So this is one of the things where I said I went down the rabbit hole and got obsessed, because I had to go looking for it, right? We're just not given the tools, but there are tools and they're so effective and you can reverse that. So I think
Yes.
that's super cool.
Okay, so for anyone who wants the three best books I've ever read on this topic are The Body Keeps a Score, which I think
Yep.
is like the standard, but it is very heavy. Like it's like one chapter a month. Like don't
Yeah.
like, anyone who reads the whole thing at once is like gonna like they're gonna get very sad.
Yeah.
Two is The Lady's Handbook for Her Mysterious Illness, which is half memoir, half like study about like how they deal with chronic illnesses, and then the third, you must read at least one of the first two first. It's called When the Body Says No, which I just read, and it is like all case studies, and it's like very wooey. Like it's not very like I mean the person like runs a hospice clinic, so like and like it's all case studies from there from like his like clients, but I'm always like, man, this book could have been written from a good place or a very bad place, and I don't know which one it was. So, like, I always worry about telling that person that giving that one first. That said, When the Body Says No talks all about like this kind of the kind of thing you repress is the kind of chronic illness you get.
Yeah.
So they talk about a lot of people with ALS, like they have a lot of repressed, like they spend a lot of their life like repressing like any like just being happy all the time, and so they were constantly in this locked in place, and so like then they like end up with these, or like people that are really high chargers who never take a break end up with chronic fatigue syndrome because the body just goes,
And it's
well,
like, think about all the messages your body must have given you before that, right? Where
mhm.
it's like you're tired and you kind of want to take a nap, but you go, I don't have time for that, or you're tense and you kind of recognize it, but you're like, I got too much to do to really think about that. So you just keep going. And then you get to that point, right? Because you ignored it. Because I had a coaching client who when she got mad and stressed, she started noticing through the course of our sessions, like her hands would fist. And I was like, perfect, punch something, not someone. Right? Something that you are allowed to punch without hurting someone else, right? But like punch your mattress, punch, because your body is telling you what it wants you to do with that, right? So if you can pay attention and listen before it gets to that point, then I really do believe that is us healing ourselves, really.
I think a lot about the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, which is the two things like that's the language for like the fight, flight, freeze or fuck versus like the rest and digest. And like most animals get there like very quickly, right? Like they like get scared, they run fast for like a very short amount of time, and then like they immediately, like within 30 seconds,
It turns
right,
off. Like my friend with the spider.
right,
Mm-hmm.
And it's like
exactly.
he jumped, and in that moment, his body's like, do not digest anything. You are not going to flirt with anybody. And but it's meant to turn off quickly, and it just doesn't in us because we have memory, we have a different, cerebral cortex, and we
Yeah.
have imagination. So you can imagine the spider jumping out at you or the news. And I think it's also worth noting that there's two level threats. There's like zero threat, or there's red level, this will kill you. And it doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a saber-toothed tiger or the news or your mother-in-law or a bill. It will all it's all this high level. And because the body, I mean, we survive by treating every field like it has snakes in it. Like maybe
Right.
9 times out of 10 there's no snake in the grass, but that the optimist did not evolve. Like she didn't survive, that the pessimist did. So we evolved that way.
Well, and then this is like, because I think a lot of people hear this, and I think at one point I even heard this. This is the point where we're in, where we're just like, but keep going. I don't have time for this, because we're like, yeah, I'll pay attention to it later. Right now, I want to like make more money, and I have a book to write, and all of that. So bringing it back to our author business, I am always explaining to people, here's what happens when you go into fight or flight mode. Like Lee was just saying, it means your body is turning off certain functions in order to divert all its energy to your limbs, to run real fast or to fight, right? To protect yourself. One of the places it diverts energy from is your brain. When we are in fight or flight, we literally get dumber. Like we can't think straight. And so we are not solution oriented, right? We can't be as strategic. We aren't as in touch with what decision would be best for us, much less a decision or a solution at all. And so when I'll talk to authors and they're like, yeah, I need to just like make money, or I need, and you can tell, yeah, it's back to the bill or whatever. And I'm like, yeah, but the problem is you're not going to be able to make good decisions when you're in this place. So when you're in this place, the first thing I tell people to do is get out of that place, not go write your book, not go, like, the work is being willing to prioritize. Just get out of this place. And it has to be more important than anything else. And that is the hardest fucking thing for everybody to do.
I have a really good story
Yeah.
that matches this. And you'd think that I would learn the lesson, but I have 2 kids. After second baby, my immune system was shot for whatever reason, lack of sleep, whatever. I was getting illnesses that the doctor's like, oh, kids get this. Because my immune system was like, I can't with these like little baby illnesses. And I had what I called a month of me, where I called my friend Renee, where we talk about this stuff all the time. I said, I'm having a month of me. And that means I just do what I need. And for me, that was sleep in, drink my favorite tea in the morning, go to lunch with a friend, my gym had a rooftop pool and a bar, a smoothie bar, and like lounge chairs. I would go to the gym. I would go sit by the pool.
Yeah.
And some yoga in there. I did it and I felt so much better that I did it again. It was March and then May. I was like, it begins with M. Let's go. And that summer, I had the biggest release of my career, blockbuster release. And it really, definitely, there's too much woo-woo in there. Like, my friend took my old trilogy, she rewrote it, she made it bigger, she made it badder, she made it better. I figured out a cover, I did this, I did that. And like all the steps to do it, it's like, there was a lot of magic mixed in. So yeah, I was doing the right things career-wise, but there also, I literally took vacation and then, I just need to remember that and learn that lesson and do more months of me.
So that's the subconscious programming, right? Is like dialing your subconscious in so that it automatically already knows, this becomes part of who you are. This becomes part of your belief about how it works for me to be successful or whatever. You have to install a belief that, okay, part of my process to be successful is like chill the fuck out or whatever you tell yourself, you know what I mean? And install that as part of it so that you don't even have to think about it. And one of the best ways I have found to do this, it's so practical, it's so science focused, is I just keep an evidence list. Because your brain really likes having evidence to know things are true. Like one of the other rules for it, right, is to prove you right. It wants to prove you right so that you feel good about your choice, your decisions, your beliefs, yourself, right? And so I'm going to give it specific things to be right about instead of looking around wanting to be right that the sky is falling, which is that fear-based brain again, because that's what we'll do if we're not deliberate. It will just do that. So if you're deliberate, you can go, I want proof that I am my most successful when I rest a lot or whatever that line is. And then I literally keep a list, because then when your brain is starting to be like, ooh, you're not probably working enough, you should probably work a little more, you got a big release coming up, you should probably hustle, you should probably think about that, you should be nervous about this, you should spend more money on this or whatever, you can literally look at the list and go, remember the time I had my best release when I sat by the pool? I think sitting by the pool sounds like part of your work now, and you should put that in the schedule, and it's easier to do that when you have it on the evidence list, because you're like, oh yeah, that's right, I forgot about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Yeah, I have so if you haven't done that before, though, one of my favorites is I was in Vegas and I was meeting with I was having lunch with someone, and this woman had written like 30 books and never released one. And I was like, and she's like, I don't think any of them are good. And I was like, what do you know? It's like, you ever edited a book? Like, you ever like put a book out? Like, why are you not hiring someone who's done the thing that you want to do? And like, then you don't have to worry. But like, a lot of times I have to go back and I have to ask other people who know better than me, or like we have this conference, as both of you know, and I'm always like, well, Mel and Tadra say it's going to be okay. So like, I don't know, like on some level, like, I just have to trust them because they've done this huge thing that I've never done before. And even when I don't think it's going to be okay, like I can at least say, well, like you pay Mel and Tadra quite a lot of money to have this opinion for you. And I find that like I have started storing my opinions about things in other people. And like if they think that it's a good idea, it probably is.
I think that's a great step one. And then I still think step two is for you to use the evidence when it goes really well to go, see, I make great decisions. And if
Yeah.
you believe that about yourself, then that kind of covers a lot for future.
Okay, so this is something that's taken a lot of time for me to like realize, but I always used to note that my wife, like things worked out for my wife,
Mhm.
and like they seemed to never work out for me.
I used
And
to be like
but
that
yeah, but
about
then
my
when I like started thinking about it, I was like, wait, like most things do work out for me. I just like don't think they do. And like one of the biggest secrets that I found in the past year is like things usually work out okay. Like even
yeah.
whether you worry about them a lot or a little, it doesn't really influence that much like what the outcome is.
Yeah. Isn't that so great to finally start to realize it for yourself? Because yeah, my best friend I'd be like venting to her and then she'd be like, and then I would like eventually tell her, the outcome. And she's like, so what you're saying is that everything is always working out for you? And at first it would piss me off. I'm like, yeah, but like, did you not hear how hard that was to get here? And then finally she said it enough times and she's like, so now she'll go, what you're saying is, and I'm like, yes, yes, everything is always working out for me. Got it. But she has really helped me install that belief in myself. Cause yeah, I love that belief. That's my favorite one. It's the one I tell everyone to start with because it's such a domino belief. It's got the word right in it. It's everything, right? So it's going to apply to any situation. So it's kind of nice. It affects everything. It's a good one.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm writing down these lists of tools. So make an evidence list to prove what you want to believe versus the opposite of everything's working out for me, which I think a lot of us have said in our lifetime. And have the belief everything is always working out for me, and then tapping to get your body to calm down when you're looking at something that scares you, which could be opening TikTok or it could be publishing your book.
Yeah, tapping's my favorite. I mean, there's a lot of tools now. There's a lot of new evidence emerging about the vagus nerve and how that is really helpful because it's a nerve that runs all the way down the back of your body and it's what is responsible for putting you in rest and digest mode. And so if you can activate it manually, sort of, then you do kind of immediately bring your body kind of back into baseline. And there's some really fun, easy YouTube videos you can look up for how to do it. One of them is as easy as like massaging and kind of tugging on your earlobe, and it does it for you. So it's very simple. It's like,
Yeah.
yeah. Have you done that one?
Yeah. Whenever I take a CBD gummy, I just start pulling on my ear. I don't even know. I think I probably did a YouTube video and then I was like, that feels amazing.
Maybe. Or maybe your body's just like urging you, right? And we just have these little nudges that our body's trying to get us to do.
Because I have the thing, as part of fight or flight is the fight part is biting.
Yeah.
So I have very overdeveloped masseter muscles from teeth grinding, which is a anger response. I'm like, oh, you don't have to be in pain in your jaw. You figure this out.
That's why I started doing CBD too. And I was like trying to get my jaw to relax, especially when I was going to sleep, because I would grind my teeth. And so I think that's why I liked that one too, because it's kind of all right here. But there's a bunch of other ones too. So I think tools are about like figuring out what resonates with you, because everybody's different and that gets to be okay. And you just find what's your jam and you just do that.
Well, you have a great video on tapping for anxiety if you join your email list. And like I got a lot out of doing that because tapping has always felt like a very technical thing that people always tell me you have to do it this way or like this many things to work. And you just like you don't even say what to do. You just sort of like model my thing and you like tap your head and then different parts. And then and I'm like, oh, you can just like that's enough. And I think a lot of this like manifesting kind of a lot of people when they come into it, they're like, there's a lot of stuff you're supposed to like do in a way. And the more you read about it or the longer you think about it, it's less like doing the right thing and more doing a thing to like make it better every day. And so I really appreciate, especially one part of your book. I'm gonna bring back to your book because like I read it this weekend. I want my brownie points. I want my gold star.
You get lots of brownie points, actually. Yeah.
So I was talking with my wife, and we all have healing to do. like my wife as well, but she's really good at like believing that things are going to go well and like allowing things to go well. And I thought it was brilliant when you said like there's three parts of your process: healing, embodying, and allowing. It's like you just they all happen together. Like it's like and while. You said and while and while and while. And like I was like, "Oh, so like even if you don't feel healed, like you can still start embodying someone who is healed and like allowing these things to go." And like I don't know, there's a lot of things that like questions I have, but I would love you to talk a little bit more about that because it was a really powerful thing for me to hear.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so that all came from that earlier montage description that I gave you, where I said I went down all those rabbit holes and I became obsessed and I tried a lot of things that I felt like didn't work for me. And for, all these various reasons, it just kind of clicked, like these are the steps, right? And because I would hear things about manifestation, I would hear, like attracts like and be a magnet to what you want and all of these things. But we just talked about all that stuff that was in my nervous system from the past, all that stuff that was in my belief system about who I was and what I was capable of or what my limitations are. Because, like Lee said, it had not been modeled to me to be any different or better or whatever. Not just money, but all the things, right? Just worthiness or choosing myself, being willing to choose myself, over everyone else's needs or whatever. So there's a lot of that. And it didn't really all start to come together. I mean, I think it did. I felt like, my life was improving as I started doing self-development. And it kind of got to this point and it's like I hit a ceiling, right? And it was just frustrating until I got the heal piece where I had to learn how to release all that stuff that was still in me from my past and finding a way to actually do that effectively. Because I just remember for like a few years, I was in this place where I knew I needed to release it, but I could not. Like I went to therapy, like regular, talk therapy for a long time. And that, again, it helps to a point. And then I was like, I remember just being like, I'm so sick of my own shit. Like I'm tired of my problems. I'm tired of hearing about it. I can only imagine how she feels about it. So ready to release it and just not knowing how. So again, like having to go learn this and figure it out. And that's where all the stuff we've just talked about came in. And then that's when I started doing energy work because this coach I found did energy work that was the first thing I'd ever encountered that helped me really feel like I released something and left it there that day and never picked it up again. And I was very skeptical by then. And so I was like, I'm going to sleep on it and we're going to see tomorrow. Because if tomorrow I have these same problems again, and I remember waking up being like, like checking in with myself, like, oh, no, I still feel better, for a few days. And then finally I was like, oh my God, it was a transformation. So that's when I said, teach me, I need to do this for other people. So that's the heal, right? But not getting stuck in the heal, not getting stuck in there's something wrong with me that needs to be fixed, because that's an easy place for us to go to, right? And so it's all happening because I get to be not perfect yet and still start to have everything I want and still embody that next version of myself who makes, way more money and works way less or whatever my goals are, right? And then the allowing is not trying to force it and recognizing you're not the one making it all happen. I always kind of talk about that labeled as like a hyper independence, which usually comes from a wound. Like we were let down or betrayed, or somebody wasn't there for us when we needed them. And so our brain is protecting us. So it goes, the answer that makes the most sense is never need anyone ever again. Never ask for help from anyone ever again. Just do it all yourself. And with hustle culture, that's encouraged, right? Think about the messaging. Like, I'm a self-made man or I'm a self-made woman, right? That kind of thing. And that really suggests or celebrates even that we didn't need anybody to get here. And so, this allowing is like this partnership with the universe where you're like, or even with your own subconscious mind, however you resonate with it, right? But you're going, I'm allowing that it's going to unfold. It's going to happen. It's inevitable. And I can just sit back and relax and have it come, like sit by the pool, like Lee, and know that it's done. And magic is happening, right? And so it's not all you, it's also the magic, and it's all going to work out for you.
Yeah, I love that. And I do think for me, like the embodying happened first because it's like, well, and it makes sense with like you want to hang around a lot of 6 and 7 successful authors. Like you want to hang around people. You want to go and hang around people that like work on boats all day. Like you're gonna have to like be the kind of person who like that kind of person wants to be around. Like whatever that area is, it just like I think Renee talks about like finding the frequency, but like whatever it is, it's like you need to be the kind of person that wants that like those kind of people want in your life and that you want to like be around them as well. Like so yeah, I think for me it was that was the easiest one. But then you're like, cool, now I'm hanging around all these really awesome authors and like I don't deserve to be there. Like, cause I what am I gonna do? Like when and then so you start like sabotaging your ability to like so like that's where like act as if but then also like you have to do this other work, I think, to because otherwise you'll just like not be able to stay there, or it'll feel terrible to be there.
Yeah.
And
You have to, love yourself enough or whatever, have the self-esteem to stay in the room. Because I have definitely been in rooms I'm like, I'm uncomfortable here. I'm leaving. That was Book Bonanza earlier this year. I was like, I do not belong here. And that's a lie because I was literally invited. Um, but I was like, okay, I have stuff to deal with being seen and being in this giant warehouse with all these huge authors who have lines around their table way longer than mine and whatever was going on. I did learn something I want to throw out real quick. The way we were raised is we were told, you're good, you're bad, don't pull down your pants in public, right? Like, like good girl, help mommy with the dishes. Oh, bad. No, don't do that. And we were socialized that way. And I realized that our brains, in a way to protect us and help us, was like, oh, I know what to do. I'll beat the shit out of you. I will say the worst things to you internally because that's how I help you. Because when you were bad as a kid, your mom didn't give you more toys. Maybe she was super evolved, but she was also socialized. Like, I'm a bad mother if I don't, no, or whatever. And so we internalize that and we start doing it to ourselves. And I realized like we beat the crap out of ourselves out of love.
yeah. Have you read either of you read the Perfectionist Guide to Losing Control?
No.
Like it like blew both my wife and I away because it talks about how we think perfectionism is bad. And like probably everyone on this call has been told that being a perfectionist is like a bad thing. And the person who wrote thesis is like perfectionism is not bad. The problem is when we try to be perfect, we punish ourselves and we use punishment. And like if we just instead used compassion and became the perfect self-compassion people, then like perfectionism would be great. And like I've literally never heard until I read that book that like my perfectionism was not anything but a crutch.
Wow, I love that take. Yeah. That's amazing. Because also we use it as a sort of, I don't know about self-sabotage, but yeah, like a limit, right? So this comes up a lot in the embody exercises I do. So in embodiment, we talk about embodying or picturing future you. Future you is the version of you who already has everything you want, who already is living your dream life, who basically has already solved all the problems you see as obstacles to get there, right? They've already done it and figured it out. So let's tap into them. That's the embodiment, right? And so we do this whole exercise and we like visualize and we encounter future you. And the problem that it's so subtle we don't even realize we're doing it is that we accidentally make future you perfect. Oh, well, if they're rich and they solved all my problems and they're so smart they figured it all out, they must be perfect. And so then we kind of put these parameters on, well, then I can't be rich until I'm perfect, kind of, right? So then I try to always back it up and go, okay, now make future you flawed. Think of a flaw, something you don't like about yourself, and give that to future you right now. Because we cannot accidentally, one of the best beliefs I've installed to myself is I get to be rich and a hot mess. I get to be rich and not have my shit together. Whew, thank goodness, right? Because we think we have to have it together in order to reach that milestone, right? When we picture the embodiment. what if you get to be this flawed and messy and like never wear anything but pajamas and order takeout 6 days a week and your laundry's piled high right outside the camera's view and like you still get to be rich? Whew, you know?
Yeah, I did that with writing. I was like, well, I have to be, physically fit and drink more water. And I was pushing it off because I was like, I was pushing off loving myself.
Mm.
When I said I was 30 and I was like, I'll love myself. I'm going to love myself. It was like a decision. It was a conscious, very deliberate, I am loving myself right now, zits and all, cellulite and all, not drinking enough water, biting my nails, not having anything together at age 30. I lived in a house that looked like it was falling over, probably was falling over. I'm like, all of this, all these decisions I made, I still love myself. And within a month, I had started self-publishing because I
Mm,
loved myself and I wanted myself to do what I loved because I allowed myself to be happy, basically. And
right.
I had all these books waiting to be published, even though I told myself, you can't be a writer. You can't do it. You have to get a job. You have to be miserable. And yeah, okay. So I need an evidence list of how loving myself and not beating the crap out of myself always works out better.
Yeah. Well, and it's just like more, it's just like a better time too, right? It's like one of the things that I love about Enneagrams is it's like, well, the thing that like you hate about yourself is also like your secret weapon. And so like you can't be magnanimous without also sometimes lashing out at people like when you're in stress, like the thing that like those two things like just like you can't have peace without also like running away from conflict and like you are somewhere on this spectrum between like always running away from conflict and like putting your head under there and like always like being able to like be the peaceful person and you like don't get the superpower without like the same like that flaw potentially being there. And when I started to like see like I'm an eight, like I lash out at people, like it's a like easily the thing I hate most about myself, but like also it's what allows me to like have these like split thing decisions or like also be like there for people at the same time. And I can work my whole life at like being this more magnanimous version of myself, but like in stress, I will always lash out. It is just the thing that happens, and I need to become to terms with it and love myself, not just in spite of that thing, but like because of that thing, because it also is how I like change the world.
Yeah. But that's so hard, right? Because we think if I accept that part of myself, or if I accept this external condition in my life that I really want to change, like not having any money or whatever, then that's like saying I don't want it, that I don't want something better. If I accept it, that's like saying it'll never go away or it'll never improve or whatever the case is, right? And that's what your subconscious is telling you. That's what that fear brain is telling you, right? Like, yeah, we think it cancels out being able to attract or manifest the thing, the next level, the next thing, whatever. And it's opposite, isn't it? It's like when you, like Lee was saying, like when you accept it, all of a sudden now that energy you were taking to fight against it, it's like that energy is able to go over here. And yeah.
That's exactly what I was going to say. And if you think about the brain, it's not like spinning on your problems and it just is like, whoop, and then suddenly you have all this space to dream and be creative and come up with ways to pay your mortgage with books and
Right.
I love it. I have so much more I could say on this topic, but I think we're gonna have to gonna have you back. I think we gotta have you back again because yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. This was so fun.
If you guys want to hear more about Heather, she's going to be at our conference in New Orleans and she's going to have a huge part of it. So, and so will Lee. So, go to writermba.com, come join us in New Orleans. Like, I cannot wait. I mean, I was excited before talking with you, but now I'm even more excited about all the stuff we have planned with you.
Because again, just being in the room, and I'm the same with energy. I'm like, I don't get it. I don't get it at all. And then I get my energy cleared or something. My friend Renee has really intense psychic gifts. And I'm like, because of who she is and our friendship, I'm really open to it. I don't think it would have happened without us being like, oh, yeah, person. Yeah. And it is like my windshield is covered with bird poop, and then someone comes along and just washes it clean. I'm like, oh, I can see the sky. It really feels like the clouds parted and there's the sun shining now. And I'm comfortable with metaphors. So talking about energy or, all those metaphors I just said, I don't know what it is, but it works really, really well. So I'm really excited to be in a room where someone who does energy work and talks about all this stuff in the author space is going to be. And I have realized that all the courses I buy and all the books I buy and all the people I get around, I just have to be around them and I match the energy. Half the courses I buy, I'm like, I think I just needed to see it was possible. And I watch the intro and I'm like, okay, she did it. It's possible. That's the one thing I needed.
Yeah.
So all that to say, if you are able to travel, come to New Orleans because you'll be in the room, and there's so much magic that just happens when you're in the room with people who are so successful in so many different ways and so creative. And that's what New Orleans is. So please come.
Yay. I'm excited.
And before then, if people want to reach out to you before then, how can they find your information?
Yeah, so the best hub of it all is my website, which is manifestyourhea.com. Happily ever after, and heal, embody, allow, acronym, double meaning. I feel so smart about that. Yeah, so manifestyourhea.com, and that has, you can sign up for my newsletter where I put out, a little message or tip or tool, and then there's a Facebook group if that's your jam. And the website also has other tools, like some stuff we didn't talk about today, like hypnos and things that help retrain your subconscious mind. So if you want tools, that's also a good place to start. So yeah.
That's awesome. Hypnotherapy allowed me to love myself and start publishing. It was like one hypnotherapy session. So go check out the free hypnotherapy and just be open to it, y'all. It's just meditation. Relax.
Yeah, what if this was all you did and then you doubled your income next year?
Yeah, obviously nap and grow rich is my jam.
Right. Yeah, I always tell people, I'm like, manifesting is one of the very few things that have no downsides. It's so hard to find something with no downside. It's the worst case scenario is you think about the thing you want for a small amount of time every day, and then you don't hate yourself for wanting it. There's literally zero downside in doing it. I'm not saying you should do it or you need to do it, but very rarely do you find something in this world that's just it might have zero upside, but it has zero downside for sure.
Yeah. So true.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you so much, Heather. We'll talk to everyone next time. Bye.
Thanks for listening. For more, head on over to sixfigureauthorexperiment.com for archive access, resources, and more. We'll see you next time.